Hi everybody, my name's Adam and I work for the Lifestyles team at Livewire. Welcome to part 2 of our Tai Chi series. If you've not yet seen part 1, why not have a little look, familiarise yourself with the movements and then come back to this video. In today's video we'll start with our warm-up, we'll learn a new movement and then we'll look at how we combine that movement to the previous 3 that we did in part 1. Again, all you need is just a little bit of space, something comfortable to wear. You can sit down anytime that you need to, and for those of you that feel a little bit unsteady on your feet, you can hold on to a surface or a chair for a little bit of balance. Let's begin with our 12 Tai Chi warm-up exercises to promote great mobility through each of the major joints of the body. We start with the neck. Raise your arms, bring your fingertips in towards your chest, push away and allow the arms to float back down. As you bring your fingertips in towards your chest, tuck in your chin, tilt your head slightly. As you push your hands away, lift the head. Only ever move through what feels like it's a comfortable range of movement for you. Try not to put your joints through any movements or positions that don't feel right for you. Our next warm-up exercise promotes rotation through the neck. Raise the arm. Gaze through the fingertips as your arm moves out to the side, allowing your head to turn. Change hands. You might feel as though you can only move your head through a short distance. You might feel that you can turn your head a little further. Again, just whatever feels right for you. Throughout each of these movements, just breathe normally. Once more. From our neck, we now move to our shoulders. Start with small shoulder rolls. If you feel comfortable with this, you might even want to start to make the shoulder circles a little bigger. From here, start to create small circles of the arms. Bring the arms up. Bring the arms over and into the middle, and slowly down. Keep the chest lifted. Keep the stomach muscles switched on. From our neck and our shoulders, we now move to our back. Imagine that you're placing one hand on top of a ball. Imagine that you're placing your hand underneath. Turn the body to one side. And then change the position of the hand so that now the other hand is on top. This promotes great mobility through our spine. Your spine is a series of 33 discs, one on top of the other. So now we're promoting the release of synovial fluid in between the joints. And it's this increase in synovial fluid that helps us to move better. So there's one of the many benefits of Tai Chi. It doesn't matter where you finish or which hand is now on top. Push that one towards the ceiling and the other hand towards the floor. Change. This feels great. It's a lengthening, stretching sensation. once more. And then just relax. Now might be an opportunity to just sit down and take a minute if you feel uncomfortable, stood up for long periods of time. Grab a drink, of course. So there's the warm-up for our upper body. Now let's look at the next 6 movements, which are for the joints of the lower body. We'll look at promoting great mobility through the hips, great mobility through the knees, and then we finish with our ankles and our feet. Transfer your body weight so it's just into one leg. That will allow you now to freely move the other. Place the heel forwards and the toe backwards. The heel forwards and the toe back. This could be done holding onto something if you don't feel as though you've got great balance. And when you feel comfortable or confident and ready, as the toes go back, raise your arms forwards. As the heel goes forwards, the arms come down. Another great benefit of Tai Chi: balance, coordination. These are what we call our motor skills. Now, before that feels uncomfortable on the supporting leg, just relax. Now let's change over. Of course, you could do this lower body only and just focus on the movement through the legs. Focus on the balance. If you do feel comfortable, you bring in the arms. So it's always about what feels right for you. These movements can be performed sat down, holding on to something, or standing freely. The hip joint moves in many different directions. Now let's move side to side. Transfer your body weight into one leg. Take the other toe out and in. Change. And then the other side. Again, this could be lower body only. If you feel comfortable, if you feel confident, as the toe goes out, just gently push the hands in the opposite direction. Out and in, out and in. There's 2 mobility exercises for the hips. Now we start to promote mobility through the knee. Make 2 very gentle fists. Take a very small step forwards. As the body weight transfers forwards, punch the opposite hand. Change. Punch the opposite hand. As you transfer the body weight forwards, that starts to stimulate the muscles of the legs. These don't have to be performed fast. There's no real intensity behind the movements. This is all about mobility. For the next movement, it will require a degree of balance. So if you don't feel comfortable, you can carry on stepping and punching. For those of you that would like to try, transfer the body weight into one foot. A small kick, as if it were towards somebody's shin. Then we change over. We do exactly the same on the other. Now, of course, this could be performed legs only. If you do feel as though you'd like to try a little bit more, as one foot kicks, the other arm punches forwards. And again, here's that awareness of our balance and our coordination. And finally, the feet. A toe, a heel, and just repeat that a few times on one side. Change over. Back to the other leg again, but this time, little toe, big toe, little toe, and big toe. Change over. And there's our 12 Tai Chi warm-up exercises. So now that we've completed our 12 mobility and warm-up exercises, let's have a look at our next movement. This movement is called waving hands in the clouds. Here's what it looks like in full. I'll now do that once more, facing you, so that you can see what it looks like from the front. Now, let's break it down into our small bite-sized chunks so that you can learn it a little easier. First of all, the feet. Quite simply, the movement of the feet are just 3 simple footsteps, all travelling to the right-hand side. With the body weight in the left foot, lifting your right heel, this is where we start. We step the right leg to the right. Doesn't have to be far, that may cause you to lose balance. Transfer the body weight and then step with the left. Repeat that again. Twice. And here's our third and final time. So both the right foot and the left foot will always be travelling to the right hand side. Now, the movement of the arms. First of all, we're going to start the main component of the movement of the hands. And then once we've learnt the movement, we'll link it with the previous 3 movements that we did in our last video. So here's how we begin. The movement of the hands. Your left hand will just be by the side of your left shoulder. Your right hand will just be by your left hip. Change the position of the hands so that the left hand travels down and the right hand travels up at the same time. We change hands. Let's do that again. The left hand travels down while the right hand travels up. I'd like you to imagine a box or a picture frame, a square, roughly shoulder to shoulder or just outside, and hip to hip. That forms the border or the boundaries of the movement of your hands. Change position of the hands. And now we move across to our right hand side. Let's practice practice that once more. Change the position of the hands and allow both hands to move to the right. And the body may turn ever so slightly with it. Now, whichever hand is on the top, the palm always points forwards. Whichever hand is on the bottom, the palm always points down. Change hands and move across. And again, I'm trying to stay within that border. So I'll never reach too high or too low. Change hands, move across, and you'll notice now that we're on the opposite side as to where we were earlier. Now we just simply do the same movement, but in reverse. So our right hand here will travel down, and the left hand will travel up, both at the same time. Change hands. And then move across. And that completes one cycle out of 3. So let's start from the beginning. We change hands and we move. We change hands and we move. That completes one cycle. Here's number 2. Change hands and move. Change hands and move. That completes cycle number 2. And here's our third and final time. Change hands and move. Change hands and move. Now would be a great time to pause this video so that you can complete that as many times as you need to until that you feel as though it flows. Let's now try and complete the 3, one after the other, in sequence. Change hands and move. 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 And the last time, change hands and move. A little pointer for you. Whichever hand is on top, that's always the direction that you'll move. We change hands. My right hand is on top, meaning that I must be moving to the right. Change hands. The left hand is on top, meaning that I must be moving to the left. Change hands. Right hand is on top, meaning I must be moving to the right. And the same here with the left. Our third and our final time. To the right. And to the left. Now, we've had a look at the 3 simple footsteps, all travelling to the right hand side. We've had a look at the movement of the arms. Now we need to combine the 2. So this is where a little coordination comes in. Of course, this could be done simply stood still, as I just did. You don't have to move if you don't feel particularly balanced. You could perform this sat down if you felt as though you wanted to. Now let's have a look at how we can add the movements of the upper body to the movements of the lower body. There's a sequence of 3 parts, and they will always come in this order. Part 1, step. Part 2, change hands. And part 3, move. Left hand is just outside the left shoulder. Right hand is just by the left hip. The body weight is taken in the left leg. And you just lift your heel of the right foot. We're ready to begin now. So thinking about the sequence of 3, step, change, move. We step, change hands, and move. And it's exactly the same now that we're on this side. We step, change hands, and move. There's 1. Step, change hands, and move. Step, change hands, and move. There's 2 out of 3. Step, change hands, and move. Step, change hands, and move. So essentially, there's the movement that we call waving hands in the clouds. That little sequence will always come in that order. So we must step before we change the position of the hands. Once we change the position of the hands, the next part must be move. Remember that the movement of the feet will always, only ever travel to the right. So hopefully these little pointers help you learn the movement better. If you'd like to, you can pause the video and practice this as many times as you need to. Let's have a little look at the movement in full. Step, change hands, and move. Step, change hands, and move. There's one final thing to look at here. It's how we get from the end of movement number 3, the single whip, into waving hands in the clouds. And here's how we get there. If you remember from our previous session, we finished the single whip where we were just looking over the left fingertips. Our right arm was out. So in order to get to this position, the right arm comes around in sort of a semicircle movement or a crescent moon, because the right hand will find its way to the left hip. That happens at the same time as the right foot just stepping by the side of the left. And now you can see that we're set and ready for waving hands in the clouds. One final time. Right arm comes around with the right foot. And now we step, change hands, and move. Step, change hands, and move. Step, change, move. Step, change, move. Final time. Step, change, and move. Step, change, and move. And to close this form, or close this movement, both hands just simply find their way, palms facing each other, just in front of the chest. So there's the movement called waving hands in the clouds. I'd like to just turn around so that you can see the movement and I'm facing the same direction as you. I'll start as if I've just finished a single whip. Right arm comes around at the same time as the right foot. Step, change hands and move. Step, change, move. And then both hands find their way just in front of the chest. This movement might take you a couple of hours, it might take you a couple of days, it might take you a couple of weeks to learn. Take your time and just enjoy. Now, let's put this movement and combine it with the other three that we learnt in our last session. The commencement form. Open hands. A single whip. Waving hands in clouds. And now, I'll turn around so that I'm facing the same direction as you. A commencement form. Open hands. A single whip. Waving hands in clouds. And now, it's time for our cool down exercises. Let's begin our Tai Chi cool down exercises. Small circles of the arms, breathing in and breathing out. You can take these movements to where they feel comfortable for you. The circles of your arms may be a little smaller. The circles of your arms may be a little bigger. Now, just allow the back of the hand to fall onto the thigh. Remember to breathe throughout each of these movements. Just relax. These movements could be performed stood up. These movements could be performed sat down. You may want to hold on to something for a little balance. Bring the hands across the chest, making two gentle fists. Breathe in. And breathe out and gently just open the fingers. Breathe in. And breathe out. relax. As always, we finish our Tai Chi session making a gentle fist, an open palm, and a bow. Thank you everybody, and I look forward to seeing you in our next session.